Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Kay, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at my project pan update. I don't know what number this is, I've lost track, I've missed a couple of these videos, so sorry if you were hoping to keep up. Long story short, I ended up going back to work in May unexpectedly during this whole health situation, and I have struggled to try and get back into some sort of routine whereby I can do work life and home life and fit in a bit of YouTube here and there as well. So these videos typically take me a really long time to edit, and for the last couple of months, by the time I've even got them filmed, it's been quite late, never mind getting them edited and uploaded. I just didn't really think it was worth it, but we're looking like we're going to get to that point again this month. But I really just want to get something documented for you guys, and for myself as well. So here I am. So there might be another one of these videos in a couple of weeks time. Doubtful, but you know, miracles might happen. But if that's the case, it is what it is. So if you don't know what a project pan is and you wonder what on earth I'm rambling on about, I'm going to leave a link to my previous videos, as few as they are, in the description box down below so that you can check those out. But essentially, project pan is where people try to use up items that they've got in their collection, makeup, beauty, skincare, things like that. So for me, I find it quite useful for finding out how quickly I use things. I do use it for things that I think might be close to expiring or that I might not get enough use out of before they expire. So I have been enjoying doing this project because it's given me a little bit more insight into what I've got and what I need to use. It is absolutely raining buckets outside at the moment, and I've got to have the window open because it's also so hot. So if you can hear that rain, I'm really sorry. It is what it is. This is like my only opportunity to film over the next couple of days, so we're just going to get on with it. So I've got some items that I've finished. I've got some items that I want to bring in as part of the refresh. Refresh is basically, it's a quarterly refresh. It's basically every 3 months you give yourself the opportunity to bring new items in. Maybe the items that you've got in your project aren't working for you, or they might not be working for the season that you're in. We're out of spring, we're into summer. Some of the items that I've been previously using might not be working now. So that's the reason why we do a refresh. I haven't really stuck to the refresh for deciding what I want in this project. I've sort of taken a few things out as and when I've decided they're just not working for me. There's no point forcing myself to use something that I just don't want to use. The refreshes are probably a little bit pointless for me, to be honest, but I do try and stick to it with certain products though, so I'm going to do that. So without any further rambling, because this video is already going to be about 3 hours long because there's 3 months worth of information to catch up on, let's just get into it. So as I said, I've got some empties. We're going to start there, and I finished off the foundation that I had in my project. So this is the Bourjois Healthy Mix foundation. This one is in the shade 51, light vanilla. So it looks like there's still some left in here, and there is a little bit at the bottom. I did tip this up to try and get some more out so that I could get some more use out of it, and there's probably maybe another 1 or 2 applications in here, but I don't want to fight for it, so this has gone. So I actually finished this in May. As I've said in previous videos, I do like this foundation. It's not my absolute favourite, but as a drugstore foundation goes, it's up there, so I do really like it. I know I've mentioned in a previous video, it might have been a project pan, I'm not sure, but I have heard that Bourjois are pulling out of the UK market, so in regards to repurchasing, probably not. But it was nice, I liked it, but it is done. The next one was the NYX Angel Veil Primer. Really like this primer. I was starting to get a little bit frustrated with it because it just seemed to be the product that would not go. It just kept going and going and going. It it was just never ending. So I finished this in June, so I only finished it last month. But yeah, it is finally gone, and so the final weight on this was 12.5 grams, but obviously that's just packaging at this point. So I am going to put photos up as I'm talking about these so that you can see sort of the weight progression as we've gone along. But yeah, that's that one gone, so that was great. Next thing I finished was my lip gloss. So this one was the I Heart Revolution, the praline one. Now I did get to a point where I had to take the stopper out, so you can see I had to make it a bit wider so that I could access more product, and I don't know if you can see that. Oh, if I do that maybe, but there is still product at the bottom. I can't get to it. I've tried leaving this upside down, but it just won't come out. But you can see all the sides are all scraped. I got as much out of this as I possibly could. So that was that. I really enjoyed this lip gloss. I was a little bit sad that it had actually gone, but I do have another one, so it's not a total loss. And it's just really good that in terms of Project Pan, I've actually managed to finish something that I started, and I hadn't really used a lot when I started using this as well. So actually managing to finish a lip gloss for me is actually a really big achievement, because I never finish lip products, never. So this I'm really pleased with. And the finishing weight for this started off in the project at 21.5 grams, and by the time it was finished it was 19.5 grams. So that's gone. Next is my mascara, and this is the Le Volume de Chanel mascara from Chanel, in the shade black. It's just a little sample. I've got a few samples and minis of mascaras, so I thought it would be a good idea to just sort of pick one, focus on it, move on to the next. So that's what I've done. Now, it said that the period after opening date on this was a month. I managed to get 3 months out of this. I finished it last month. Well, I say I finished, I pretty much had, but it did get too dry for me to use, so whatever was left I couldn't use it, so I am considering this done. So when I introduced this into the project, it weighed 5 grams and it finished at 4 grams. That's gone. And then the final thing, I think it's the final thing that I finished. Ta-da! So this literally took me 6 months to finish, from start to finish. So you can see that this is where I started the project. That was when I introduced it. And then we had my update in February, update in March, update in April, update in May, update in June, and I finished. So really like this perfume. I've got quite a few perfumes in my collection, so I'm not currently thinking about repurchasing it, but if I get rid of everything that I've currently got and I think, oh, I want to buy another perfume, this would definitely make the list. It's really light and feminine, and it's just, I like it. So that's that. And now we can move on to progress I made on other items. We're just going to start at the top and work our way down. So the first thing we're going to look at is primer. Had a moment there. So obviously I finished the NYX. I know that I spoke about introducing this because I thought the NYX was going to be finished, and then it didn't. So I have now actually started this. So when I introduced this, it was 37 grams. You can probably see from when I introduced it that there's, oh, you can see it's come down quite a lot since I did introduce it. It was sort of up here when I started. This was 37 grams when I introduced it in April, and it is currently weighing in at 34 grams. So that's good. When I say currently, I weigh everything around the 8th or 9th of the month, and it is currently the 18th when I'm filming this, so it's probably a bit less than that by now. But as it stands with the measurements that I took on the, I think it was the 8th of this month, this is where all of my weights stand. So just to confuse everybody even further. So I've made some really good progress on it, and I like this packaging as well because I can actually see where it is. I think that was the thing I had with the NYX, was I couldn't physically see it. I was having to like hold it up to the light to see. I couldn't really judge what was left. But this is going down quite nicely, thank you very much, and I'm happy with the progress that I've made. So I'm keeping this in, I've got no reason to take it out, and that's that. Next we've got the Nivea BB cream. So I introduced this in April. It weighed in at 61 grams. I have actually managed to get quite a lot of use out of this. I haven't used it every day. When I do use it, it's not like I use a ton of it. I like to just have a light covering. It's been alright to use, but I have noticed that while the weather has been a bit warmer, it's made me feel a little bit greasy, particularly in the T-zone. So I've been trying not to use it on days where I know it's going to be a bit warm, but this is a product that I do use as sort of a, I'm in a hurry, I don't have time to faff about, this is what I'm slapping on my face. So that is that. So 61 grams when I introduced it, and it is currently weighing in at 52.5 grams. So definitely got some use out of it. Again, I'm still going to keep it in, even though we are in summer. It's a British summer, so it isn't always, it's rarely super hot, but if it is, then I just won't use it. But if it's normal weather and I'm on a morning shift at work, this is probably what I'm going to be using. So I'm going to keep it in. I'm not refreshing that, and I'm also not going to introduce a normal foundation at this point either, because there isn't one that I want to target at the moment. I'm not going to force myself to use something when there isn't something that I feel the need to do that with. So that's that. Next is concealer, and the one in my project is the Pony Effect Pro Fit Liquid Concealer SPF 30. So when I first introduced this, right at the beginning of the project, I struggled to get any use out of it. I have been finding that I've had more use out of it over the last few months, since I've been using it as more of a sort of base for the BB cream really. If I've got anything that I want a little bit of extra coverage on, then I've been using that a little bit more heavily. I have been finding that using it under my eyes is a little bit easier since I've not been using the Bourjois foundation. So I think it just didn't mesh well with that foundation. But with any other foundation that I've used it with, it sits under my eyes a whole lot better. It doesn't make me look as crepey or as old. So that's been a little bit of a revelation, but also really good news because it means I've got more opportunity to use this. So when I introduced this, it was 24 grams and it is currently weighing in at 18 grams. Next we've got my powder. So this is the Huda baking powder and it is in the shade Pound Cake. So this was another one that has been in this project from the very beginning. It was 102 grams when I started. As I've said numerous times, I don't use a massive amount of powder when I do my makeup. I generally just use it for setting under my eyes more than anything else, and maybe a little bit if I'm feeling like it needs it sort of in the T-zone, but nothing major. So it is taking me a while to get through this. This was, how much was it? So there's 20 grams of product in here, and when I introduced it, it was 102 grams and it is currently weighing in at 99.5 grams. So it's slow, really slow. I'm going to keep it in because, as I said at the beginning, this is the product that has got the shortest period after opening date on it. I actually really do like this product. I really enjoy using it. I like the effect it gives. So there's no reason for me to take this out at this point. So it's staying in. Next we've got my fixing spray from MAC. So I introduced this in April. You can see top mark is where I introduced it. So this was in April, May, June and July. So at the beginning of July when I did my check-in, this is where we were up to. So you can see I got quite a lot of use out of that first sort of month, and then sort of pretty much the same but a little bit less than originally on the other months. So it's working well for me. I am using it clearly. I do just generally just do a couple of sprays just to refresh after a powder usually, but I do also use it to spray any shimmer shadows or foiled shadows just to give them that little bit of extra intensity and ability to adhere to the eye. So it's been really useful for that. It works really well for that. So this is another product that I'm not swapping out at this point. I am going to keep this in. Again, it's one of the older sprays I've got in my collection, so I want to use it up. So my goal with this is now just to finish it. I'm not really worried about refreshes. I just want to finish this off. So staying in, have made progress. It's all good. So next we've got my bronzer, and this is the Hoola bronzer. Now packaging, I can't remember whether I'd already done this by the last update that I posted. I have a feeling I didn't, but packaging I had to get into because trying to access the product was just a nightmare in that box. I've decided I hate this packaging. I was originally going to just pop this out and put it into a magnetic palette. I didn't have one to hand at the time, so I just split the packaging down and I decided, you know what, it'll work for me like that. So I have left it like this. It doesn't look very pretty, but it does its job. So you'll be able to see from here, and I'll put on comparison pictures as well, but you'll be able to see that I'm definitely making some progress now, and I think a lot of that has been down to the fact that I've actually been able to get at the product. I was starting to get really frustrated that nothing seemed to be going very far very fast, and then over the last couple of months I've really been starting to notice that this pan has been increasing, and I'm definitely putting it down to the fact that I can now access the product, so that's great. In terms of weight, when I introduced this it was 38 grams and it is currently weighing in at 36.5 grams. I'm clearly still not using it a massive amount, but I am now making some headway on it, so that's great. I also did the same thing on my Havana blush. Again, I don't know if you'll be able to tell from here, and again I'll post comparisons, but I'm starting to make a little bit of a dent in the middle of this, which is fantastic. Oh, bronzer I'm keeping in as well. I'm going to finish this. Same goes for this, I'm keeping it in. I just want to, in my head I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to get to December, whatever isn't used by December I will just declutter, because this has been in my collection for such a long time, but I'm going to get as much use out of this as possible before I get rid of it. So that's that. And in terms of weight for this, when I introduced it in the intro video this was 42 grams and it is now weighing in at 41 grams. So not great, but I'm starting to make progress on it now that I've got into the box, so hopefully we'll start seeing a bit more progress on it now. So next we've got highlighter. We've got the Milk Makeup highlighter stick thing. So this is obviously a cream product. I have actually made progress on this. So for 1, 2, 3, so for 3 videos I've reported this as checking in at 16 grams, and then for 1, 2, 3 check-ins it was 15.5 grams, and it's finally down to 15 grams. So I'm finally starting to make some progress on it, but it is really slow, and the reason for that is I just don't use it as much as I should. With it being a cream product and me using powders for everything else, I tend to just forget about it. I've also had a bit of a thing for blushes and highlighters at the moment, so I've had a few new things in sort of come into my life, so I've kind of been neglecting these. So I'm starting to make some movement on this. I'm hoping that will continue. Again, this is something I'm going to keep in. I just feel like I've started on it, and I don't really use it often enough to sort of decide whether I really do like it or not. I think I do, but it's really subtle, and sometimes I put it on and I can see it, but I just don't feel like it's worth the effort. So I am going to introduce something new to go alongside this, but I'll discuss that a little bit later. But I'm hoping it's going to encourage me to use this more, so that's that. Next we've got eyeshadow primer, and this is the Urban Decay Primer Potion in the shade Eden. I introduced this in March. It was 15 grams. It's currently weighing in at 13.5 grams. So I'm making some progress on it. I'm keeping it in. It's still working. I'm not sure how, because this is so old, but it's still working. It's not causing me any irritation. I love this stuff. This is my favourite eye primer, so no reason for me to take it out. Obviously if things change I'll swap in a new one, but at the moment it's staying in. I introduced this in March. It weighed in at 194 grams. In April it weighed in at 193 grams, which I thought was a bit much, but I just kind of went with it. It's an eyeshadow. I didn't expect to lose an entire gram, but okay. In May it still weighed in at 193 grams, which was a bit weird because I'd used it a lot more, or at least I felt like I had. And then when I've weighed it for this check-in, it's weighing in at 193.5 grams. So it grew, and I don't understand it, because again I feel like I used it quite a lot and yet somehow it increased. But that is what the pans are currently looking like. So hopefully I'll be able to put a comparison on screen for you so that you can see just how much, but you can see, particularly in the shimmer shades, it's more noticeable. I think you can see there's a bit of a dip in some of them. I've really enjoyed this palette, really enjoyed it, considering I wasn't sure about buying it in the first place, and I kind of ended up buying it on a whim and pretty much regretted buying it. That was the reason I introduced it, was so that I could actually use it rather than just buying it and having it sit there. So my favourite shades have probably been Palermo, this pink shade here. Monte Carlo is a beautiful, beautiful pink matte shade. I use this quite a lot. Estate I tended to use as a sort of crease setting shade or transition shade. And then I discovered quite late on, actually, which was a bit of a shame, but I discovered that this shade here, Yacht, it was just really nice to use as a wash of shimmer, to pretty much just put that on, bit of mascara, walk out the door. It was really nice to use like that. Seychelles I quite enjoyed using, but I found I didn't gravitate towards it as much as I thought I would. Inheritance I think I used once, so not great. Mediterranean I liked, but I found I didn't want to use it with what I was doing with the rest of the palette. Can was quite nice. I used Palm quite a lot to deepen up my shades, but obviously not a massive amount. I found a little went a long way, so that was that. But yeah, I feel like I got quite a lot of use out of it, so it's a bit frustrating that it's grown by half a gram. I am going to take this out. I have really enjoyed it. It is something that I'm probably going to go back to at some point, so I don't think it's going to be something that just sits in my drawers unused now. So it's in my mind. I know it's there. I know what it can do now. And I think that's another way that this project has been great for me. It's really helped me to understand some of the products that I've got that I've been ignoring. So that is the update on that one. And obviously I am going to bring in a new palette, but I'll talk about that at the end. So this is the Illamasqua, I can never remember what this is. Iconic Chromes Pigment Paint. I think I've said this about 10 times now and I still can't get it into my head what it's actually called. But never mind. So just to show you what the inside's currently looking like. So you can see I've definitely got in there a little bit. I wouldn't say that I've used it regularly. I wouldn't say that I've used it a lot. But I have tried to use it at least once or twice every month. So I never expected there to be loads of progress on this. And when I did introduce this, I know I said I just wanted to get some use out of it because I'd had it, thought it looked beautiful, and then I'd never worn it. So I just wanted to get some use out of it. I have, but this is another frustrating one when it comes to weights. So in the intro video, this was 44.5 grams. It stayed at 44.5 grams in February. It was 44 grams in March, April and May. And then in June it was 43.5 grams, and then for this check-in it's gone back up to 44. So this is another one that's grown by half a gram. I don't know whether it's the weather, I don't know whether it's the scales. It might be because I've had to move the room around, so everything was sort of on that wall and now it's on this wall. So whether it's messed with the scales or where sort of, because I weigh them all on here, so it might be that. But some products have gone down and then these seem to have gone up, so I don't know. I'm logging it as what it said because there's nothing else I can do about it. But yeah, a bit frustrating. I did toy with the idea of taking this out, but I'm not. I'm going to leave it in purely because we're in summer for what it is, and it is quite a nice warm shade to use, so I can probably still use it for summer looks, so I'm keeping it in. Next we have the bane of my existence, and that is liquid eyeliner. I cannot get to grips with this at all. I've tried and tried and tried to make this work for me, it's not that it's a bad product. The reason it doesn't work for me is that whenever I see this coming towards my eye, I blink with a liquid eyeliner, and what happens? It ends up all over your eyelid, anywhere but where you actually want it to go. I think I'm just too sensitive to use this. I'm not great with pencil eyeliner going in a straight line, so this is just a disaster for me every single time. So I'm taking this out. The goal of this for me was to just get some practice to see if I could figure it out, or whether it was just something that just wasn't going to be for me. And I think I've just decided that liquid eyeliners just aren't for me. I've tried, but I've been doing this for 6 months now, and I can't put myself through it anymore. I can't put myself through the frustration. And the other thing with this is because I know I'm going to mess it up, I can't do this on a day where I'm actually going to have to leave the house. I literally just have to sit here when I'm not doing any makeup and just try, and it just seems like such a waste, and I'm not using all the products at the same time, so it's just pointless for me for this to be in this project. So I'm taking this out. It's not empty, it's not finished, it's still going, but I'm finished with it. So next we've got the pencil eyeliner. So this is the Bourjois, I think, yeah, Bourjois Kohl and Contour pencil. So you can probably see it's definitely getting shorter, and you can see I've actually started covering up the writing now with the lid. So again, I'll put a picture on screen so that you can see the progress. I don't think I actually made a lot during this last month. I didn't really use it an awful lot. I'm bored of trying to make eyeliner work for me this month. I've definitely been getting more use out of it than I thought I would when I first put it into the project, but I just got fed up last month. I literally just put my eye makeup on and went, I don't want to bother, so I didn't. So that was that. But it's definitely smaller than it was. I'm really happy with the progress that I'm making on it. And again, this is something that I'm going to keep in. I want to keep it in until it's finished. I might as well, so I'm going to. Brows then. Oh, I forgot one. Oh no. I have another empty. Well, sort of. So, oopsie. So the Benefit Goof Proof Brow Pencil, this broke. So in April, I was intending to keep this in, and literally the next time I came to use it after that video, it broke. I don't know if I've kept the piece smushed in here. No, I didn't. So I think I talked about this in an empties video, and I think I just got rid of the piece afterwards. There wasn't a massive amount left. It was only a short little piece anyway, but it just snapped off and broke, so couldn't use it anymore. So it was a bit frustrating because it wasn't empty, but it's gone now. So, and now that's my cat. You'll see from the picture that I put up how far I managed to not get with this, because it just never moved. So that's that. Innisfree Skinny Brow Mascara. This was 13 grams when I introduced it in the intro video, and then it was 12.5, 12.5, 12.5, and then it went down to 12, and then 12, and it's currently weighing in at 11.5 grams. I'm taking this out. It's actually getting a bit dry, so I should probably mention this with empties as well, to be honest. But I've noticed that when I'm using it, it just feels like it's not applying as well as it should, and I'm finding I'm getting like chunks just sitting there, and they're getting a bit tricky to move. So I'm going to take this out. I'm not going to be putting any brow products back in. Pencil wise, I've got a few, but there's nothing that I'm desperate to target, so I'm not going to. And in terms of products like this, I've got brow gels. I've got a couple of brow gels, but they're both clear, and they're both fairly new to my collection as well, so there's no reason for me to try and target them. So I'm taking all brow products out from this point on. Doesn't mean I won't add any in later, but at the moment, no brow products. So that's that. On to lips, and we've got the Illamasqua colouring pencil. Definitely not made as much progress on this as I wanted to. I've not really used it much in the last couple of months at all. You can see from the picture that there's been some, but definitely not massive amounts. I do want to keep this in. I do want to try and use this a little bit more. I was using it with the lip gloss that I finished, and it did pair really well with that. The colour that it sort of made was really pretty. I really enjoyed it, but when I get into the lip gloss that I'm introducing, you'll see why I'm happy enough to keep this in. So that's that. So the next product that I'm going to talk about, I actually don't have on me at the moment. It's actually in my bag downstairs, and I really don't want to have to run and go and fetch it, so I'll just put the pictures up so that you can see the weight difference. But this is the Bourjois Rouge Velvet, the lipstick. So I introduced this in the refresh in March. It weighed in at 23.5 grams, and it's currently weighing in at 22.5 grams. There's been a little bit of weight movement in there, which is really nice. I'd forgotten how much I really liked that lipstick. I'd forgotten how much I really like this lipstick. It's so nice to apply. It just glides onto the lips. It's so smooth. It does dry down a bit, but it doesn't go totally transfer proof. But it wears down quite nicely as well. It doesn't sort of leave it quite patchy on your lips or anything like that. So it's just really, really nice. And the colour, just with the Riviera palette, it just went really, really nicely. I am going to keep it in just because I think it's going to work quite well with the palette that I'm going to introduce, which you'll see soon. So I don't want to take it out just yet. Again, it's another lipstick that's been in my collection for a long time, so I do want to try and get a bit more use out of it as well, so I'm keeping that in. Next we've got the liquid lipstick, and this is from Mellow. This one is in the shade Tehran. Really, really like this lipstick. When I introduced it in the refresh, no, I think I introduced it before that. Yeah, so I introduced this before the refresh because the liquid lipstick I had before it was just awful. I hated it. So this got moved in early and I haven't regretted it. I've really liked this lipstick. I wasn't sure that I was going to because it's a brand that I'd never tried before. Obviously a formula I'd never tried before as well. The colour, I really like the colour on my lips. It's kind of, it's not quite a My Lips but better, but it's just sort of a shade on from that, and it does dry down, and it is actually transfer proof, but it doesn't feel like it's sucking the life out of your lips, so it's really comfortable. I really like it, and this has been something that I've worn a few times for work because I know I've mentioned before the nature of my job. I don't get a lot of opportunity to touch up my makeup. So to have something that lasts as long as this does is amazing. I can just put this on before I go. I can maybe touch up when I'm on my break, but then I don't have to worry about it. Really good. I'm keeping this in because I want to. Next we're on to lip balm, and we've got the Barley Balm. So the lid broke, but I have kept the pieces so that when I'm weighing it, I've still got all the pieces. I do still have all the pieces. So it's all accurate when I'm weighing. Still isn't gone. I'm quite surprised at how long this is taking. So this is something that I was using quite a lot when I'm at home, and it's, you know, while we were on lockdown it was really dry. So I did hammer this. I really hammered this. So the fact that it still isn't gone is a bit frustrating. And again, it's another one of those, I can't see how much is left, and I feel like there's probably more left than I want there to be at this point. I can sort of see product sitting up to here through the light at the moment, so this has probably still got a way to go. I don't mind too much though. It's more that I'm trying to finish products and this isn't going to be finished anytime soon, rather than me not liking it. It's working, I like it, it's staying in, I want to finish it. When I introduced it, I don't know what weight it was because I forgot to weigh it, but it weighed in at 15.5 grams on the next check-in, and it is now currently weighing in at 11.5 grams. So there's definite progress going on there, definite progress. So I'm pleased about that, but I'm just like, I'm using you. Why aren't you going anywhere? And that brings us to everything that I made progress on. So now on to the things that I'm going to introduce, either because things got finished or as part of the refresh. First things first, I'm going to talk about highlighter. So I mentioned when I was talking about the Milk Makeup highlighter that I'm introducing something to try and help me to use that, and that product is very shiny, so covered in fingerprints, the Natasha Denona Blush and Glow. So that is what that looks like. I bought this last year and I've barely used it. So the highlighter I quite liked, but the blush I didn't like as much. It's very shimmery, and I don't normally gravitate towards shimmery blushes, so for me this hasn't been something that I've sort of used a lot, but I do like the highlighter. So I thought I'm going to try and tackle two problems here. I'm going to introduce this so that I can try and use it, but I also think that if I've got this highlighter over the top of the Milk Makeup highlighter, it's probably going to stand out a bit more. Both of these I find can be quite subtle on me, and sometimes I just want to see my highlighter. So I think combining the two, I'm gonna have the Milk Makeup highlighter that this can stick to, but I can also just use a powder one if I want to, or use a cream one on its own if I want to as well. So that's great. But it also means that I'm going to look at the blush side as well, and potentially I might get some use out of that as I'm going. I'm thinking I might try and use it as a blush topper, just try and use a light hand with it and use it as a bit of a blush topper. So I'm hoping I'm going to get some use out of that, and I'm hoping it's going to help me use another product. And as per my usual amazing organised self, totally forgotten to log the weight on here, but I know I've taken a photo of the weight, so I will insert that here so you can see it, and I will input that into my computer hopefully before the next check-in. So the next thing is the eyeshadow palette. So Riviera is coming out, and the Nabla Secret palette is coming in. I bought this last year. When I was thinking about buying it, I looked at it and thought, this looks really pretty. So let me just, there you go. So that's what she looks like. And I do like this. I do think it's really beautiful. But I don't use it. I literally used it twice and then put it in a drawer, and I've never used it again. And when I was looking at my palettes, trying to figure out which one I was going to put into this project, I picked this up and I thought to myself, I don't use this. Why don't I use it? And then I remembered, it's because I don't know what to do with it. I don't know why it's so hard for me to figure it out, but I just look at this palette and I think, what do I want to do with it? Where do I start with it? So I want to put it into the project. Sounds a bit counterproductive. If I don't know what to do with it, how do I think I'm going to use it? But I think if I just experiment with it, if I just maybe use one or two colours just to get something out of it, then maybe something somewhere will just click, and I'll be able to just look at it and go, makes sense now. But at the moment I look at this and I'm just like, I can't figure out how to get a cohesive look out of it. I just can't do it. So I know Angelica Nickvista's got a video on this, because she's the reason I bought this, because she made it look amazing and I bought it and I loved it, and then I didn't. Everything else I've bought that she's recommended I've loved. So I know this is me. I know it is. So I want to rectify that. So I might go back to her video, see what she did, see if I can sort of have a bit of a play with it along those lines, and hopefully I will fall in love with this palette. I want to, I really do want to, so I will update you hopefully at the next check-in. I'm making no promises at this point, but at some point I will update you. Let's just say that, shall we, and let you know how I'm getting on. Fingers crossed. Today's look is actually with this palette, and it was okay. I'm not totally in love with it, but I don't hate it, so I think it's going to be an effort. I do think it's going to be an effort, but I want to give it a chance. If I get to the end of this sort of refresh period and decide actually I just don't like it, then I'll look at decluttering it. But I want to give it a chance. I don't just want to leave it sitting in my drawer going, there's a reason I don't use you. So that's that. And weight wise, this is weighing in at 186.5 grams. So hopefully this doesn't grow, but we'll see. So mascara then, obviously I finished with the Chanel one, so I am bringing in this one. So it's the Benefit Bad Girl Bang. I've heard great things about this, and I have tried it a couple of times before sort of deciding that I was going to put it into the project. I can't decide. The first time I tried this I thought, oh, it's okay. I don't think it's anything to write home about, but it's alright. The second time I used it, I went, actually no, I don't like this. The third time I used it, I went, nope, still don't like this very much. And then when I've used it today, I thought, actually, maybe it is okay. But I just don't think I'm ever going to be in love with it. But I've got it, I've opened it, I've started using it. So I'm putting it into the project. Hopefully it will encourage me to use it, and then I can make a proper sort of informed opinion about it. So that's that. And this is weighing in at 15 grams. Most of that is going to be this bulky packaging, but it is what it is. But yeah, 15 grams. We'll see how we get on with that. Obviously my lip gloss was finished, so I'm bringing in a new one. At this point some of you are going to be thinking, wait, what? So I'm bringing in the I Heart Revolution. Oh, there you go. But this one is salted caramel. The last one was praline. This one is salted caramel. So it's similar. Let me see if I can find the thing. There it is. So it's kind of similar. So this is a salted caramel on the top, and then praline was on the bottom. So you can see this one's a little bit more pink, and this one's got a little bit more sort of beigey sort of colour to it. Come back, there you go. So as I said with the lip liner, the reason I'm keeping it in is because it's still going to sit quite nicely underneath here. I have tried that, it's what I'm doing today. So I know it works. So lip liner staying in, and this is coming in. As I've said before, I really like the formula of these, really do. These were the reason that I realised that not all lip glosses were made equal. I used to hate lip glosses, and then I tried these, and now I'm trying to find more lip glosses that I like. It's been a bit of a thing. I've had more misses than hits, but I'm trying. But no, these are definitely favourites for me, so I'm happy to introduce this, and it is weighing in at 21.5 grams. So I actually introduced this in June at 21.5, and it's still weighing in at 21.5. I didn't really use it. And last but not least is perfume. So I am bringing in this one to replace the Vera Wang perfume. So please excuse my pronunciation. This is the Jean Arthès Your One in a Melon perfume. I think I had this in a glossy box last year. Pretty sure I did. They had a fruity and floral edition, and I got the fruity box, and this was in it. It is quite a fruity perfume, but summer, it's quite fitting. I'd already used quite a lot of it before I introduced it, so this month, and you can probably tell already, just oops, back, and you can probably tell already just from the way I'm holding it that I've already used some. So I'm hoping I'm going to make as much progress on this as much as I was doing with the Princess perfume. So just pop that on there. So that's that, and I think that's everything. I hope that's everything. This video is going to be long. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Hopefully I can get back on top of these videos now. So hopefully there'll be another one sort of mid-August to let you know how I've got on in July and the first week of August. And yeah. So hopefully this hasn't been too long and tedious for you. If it has, I'm sorry.
You probably aren't here though if it has. If you've stuck around this long, thank you. I appreciate you so much. If you have enjoyed this video, if you could just drop a thumbs up for me, it would help to let me know that you have enjoyed it, and I will be more encouraged to keep doing these videos. If you're not subscribed to my channel already and you feel like this is something that you want to see more of, or if you're interested in unboxings and empties videos and beauty purchases videos, I do all that over here. So subscribe and you'll see a lot more of those. And with all of that being said, I really do hope everyone's okay at the moment. Everyone's sort of surviving what's going on in the world right now. And yeah, so I'll see you all again in another video very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.